Dear English literature learners, my today's topic is Renaissance, Elizabethan, Jacobean and Puritan age, 1558 to 1660, part A, brief questions with answers. This part consists of 3 videos, so watch all the 3 videos to have a complete idea on the topic. Elizabethan age, 1558 to 1603. Question 1. What do you mean by Renaissance? Answer. The Renaissance implies a sort of rebirth, rather resurgence. It was related to a general cultural renewal in Western Europe. In the 15th century, the Renaissance spread from Italy to France, Spain, rather late to England. Question 2. Who is John Colet? Answer. John Colet was a vastly learned scholar of classical languages. He was the dean of St. Paul's and introduced a new learning into the secondary education of the Cathedral School of St. Paul's. Question 3. Who is John Fisher? Answer. John Fisher was the Bishop of the Rochester and he had a role in the revival of learning in England. He was the author of a number of Latin works. Question 4. Who is John Erasmus? John Erasmus was a great name in the spread of classical knowledge in the European continent during the Renaissance period. Erasmus, in collaboration with William Lilly, revised Latin grammar, which became the standard work on the subject. Question 5. Who is Richard Crook? Answer. Richard Crook was a Greek scholar who became the reader of the Greek at Cambridge. He was also a strong and active supporter of the spread of the new learning in England. Question 6. Who is Sir Thomas More? Answer. Sir Thomas More was a gifted scholar and a humanist of the Renaissance. He had immense knowledge in Greek and Latin. He is famous for his celebrated single work, Utopia. Question 7. What is Utopia? Answer. Utopia is the most important work of Sir Thomas More. The meaning of Utopia is no place or nowhere. The book is famous because it outlines an imaginary ideal condition of society. Question 8. Who were William Tyndale and Miles Coverdale? Answer. William Tyndale and Miles Coverdale were the devout reformers. Tyndale translated the New Testament in 1525 and Coverdale translated the Old Testament in 1535. Question 9. When was the Book of Common Prayer translated? Answer. The Book of Common Prayer was translated in 1549 from Latin into English. It has a sponsoring effect on the growth of the English language by means of the appropriate cultivation of the classical languages. Question 10. Who is Roger Ascham? Roger Ascham was a great educationist and a moral teacher of the Renaissance. His 2 well-known works are Toxophilus and the Schoolmasters. Question 11. What is the theme of the Toxophilus and when was it published? Answer. Toxophilus deals with the art of archery as the national weapon of the English people. This book was published in 1545. Question 12. When was the Schoolmasters published? Answer. The Schoolmasters was published in 1570, 2 years after Ascham's death. Contains his views on the teaching of the classics. Question 13. Who is John Thomas Watt? Answer. John Thomas Watt was a young courtier and a poet of the court of Henry VIII. He was deeply influenced by Petrarch and introduced the sonnet into England. Question 14. Who is Henry Howard, Earl of Surrey? Answer. Surrey was the younger contemporary and disciple of Wit. He was a great scholar, true humanist. He translated from Horace and Virgil. His songs and sonnets were published in Tuttle's Miscellany. Question 15. What is Tuttle's Miscellany? Answer. The first collection of a number of Elizabethan sonnets and songs was made, printed, and published by one Richard Tuttle, a printer. under the title Songs and Sonnets 1557. The volume is popularly known as Turtle's Miscellany and contains sonnets from Wit and Surrey and a number of poems from other poets. Question 16. Who is Sir Philip Sidney? Answer. Sir Philip Sidney was one of the most prolific writers of the Elizabethan period. His finest achievement in poetry was Astrophel and Stella. His chief literary adventure in prose was Arcadia. Question 17. What is Astrophel and Stella? Answer. Sidney's finest achievement in poetry was Astrophel and Stella. It is a collection of 108 love sonnets. It is a collection of songs and sonnets evidently addressed to one person. Question 18. What is Arcadia? Answer. Arcadia was Sidney's chief literary adventure. It is completed in 1580. It is a typical example of Elizabethan romance based on pastoralism. Question 19. What is an apology for poetry? Answer. An apology for poetry is the first English criticism written by Sir Philip Sidney in defense of poetry. It proves inspiring for the development of English literature. Question 20. What is the School of Abuse? Answer. The School of Abuse was a pamphlet published by Stephen Gosson in 1579. In this pamphlet, Gosson, as a Puritan, attacked the art of the age, especially drama and poetry. Question 21. Who is Petrarch? Petrarch was a great Italian sonneteer. He was the founder of the Petrarchan or Italian sonnet. Question 22. How many parts are there in Italian sonnets? What are they? Answer. The Italian sonnets are divided into two parts. The first 8 lines form the octave, and the last 6 lines are called the sestet. Question 23. Who is Edmund Spenser? Answer. Edmund Spenser was a great Elizabethan poet. His poems are both epical and lyrical. His remarkable works are Amorette, the Shepherd's Calendar, the Fairy Queen, etc. Question 24. What is Amorette? Answer. Amorette is the sonnet series of Spenser published in 1595. It contains some 89 sonnets representing his love with Elizabeth Boyle, who became his wife. Question 25. What is the Shepherd's Calendar? Answer. The Shepherd's Calendar is a poem published in 1579, modeled on the artificial pastoral works that were much popularized in the Renaissance. This poem is rather patriotic in its spirit and glorifies England with all her aspects of her natural beauty and charms. Question 26. What is Fairy Queen? Answer. The Fairy Queen is the masterpiece of Edmund Spenser. It is an epic which is modeled on the classical epic. In fact, Spenser has introduced the history, politics, and religion of England in the Fairy Queen, which reveals a fine poetic synthesis of epic poetry, the medieval romance, and allegory. Question 27. Who is George Gascoigne? George Gascoigne was an early Elizabethan poet. He was a miscellaneous author who attempted seriously to write verse, prose, and drama. All his miscellaneous are published in the volume under the title The Poesis of George Gascoigne, Esquire, 1575. Question 28. How many sonnets were written by William Shakespeare? Answer. William Shakespeare wrote 154 sonnets. The first series, sonnets 1 to 126, is addressed to a young man. The second series, sonnets 127 to 152, is addressed to a woman, and the last 2 sonnets are addressed to Cupid, the god of love. Question 29. What is the theme of the Shakespearean sonnets? Answer. The Shakespeare's sonnets are the lyrical expressions of their author's perception of friendship and devotion, of his love and of his experience and ideals. Question 30. What is a mirror for magistrates? Answer. A mirror for magistrates is a collection of number of verse narratives written by different parts with cautionary objectives. Question 31. What is the name of the first English comedy? Answer. The first English comedy is Ralph Rester Twister by Nicholas Udall, produced on the classical model in 1550. Question 32. What is Gorboduc? Answer. Gorboduc or Ferrex and Porrex is the first English tragedy written by Thomas Norton and Thomas Sackville in 1561. Its theme is quite serious, of revenge and bloodshed, and of much tragic significance. Question 33. Mention some of the early historical plays. Answer. The early historical plays were the famous victories of Henry, the troublesome reign of King John, the chronicle history of King Lear, etc. Question 34. Mention the cycle of early English drama. Answer. The four cycles of early mystery and miracle plays are: number 1, the Chester cycle; number 2, Coventry cycle; number 3, the Towneley or Wakefield cycle; number 4, the York cycle. Question 35. What do you mean by iambic pentameter? Answer. This is the prevalent pattern of versification in the sonnet writing. It means a line of 10 alternating unstressed and stressed syllables. The first one is unstressed, followed by stressed, and so on. Question 36. What are the 4 stages of early English drama? Answer. The 4 stages of early English drama are: number 1, mystery plays; number 2, miracle plays; number 3, morality plays; and number 4, interludes. Question 37. What do you mean by miracle and mystery plays? Answer. The plays of the biblical stories and incidents which were presented by the church authority called mystery plays, and the plays which dealt with the lives of saints and priests were called the miracle plays. Question 38. What do you mean by morality plays? Answer. In morality plays, virtues and vices were presented on the stage as allegorical character. Abstract qualities such as justice, mercy, gluttony, and vice were among the commonest characters. The morality plays had moralizing or didactic tendency. Question 39. What do you mean by the interlude? Answer. The word interlude seems to have no precise meaning. It is used to imply simply a play in the sense that it is a ludus carried on between or several characters. The term is also taken to mean the plays performed in the midst of other festivities or some business. It is also didactic in nature. Question 40. Mention some interludes. Answer. The Four P's is one of the best interludes by John Heywood. The other important moral interludes are Hicks Corner, Youth, What, and Science. The nature of the 4 elements, a new interlude called Thucydides, etc. Question 41. What is the most remarkable of the morality plays? Answer. Everyman is the most remarkable of all the morality plays. The play treats in the usual allegorical style in hour of death and presents a good ideal of devotional ideals. Question 42. Who are the Sir Thomas Elyot and Thomas Wilson? Answer. Sir Thomas Elyot is the best known for his political treatise, the book named The Governor, 1539. Thomas Wilson is best known for his academic work, Art of Rhetoric. 1553. Question 43. Who is Hero and Leander? Answer. Hero and Leander is a narrative work of Christopher Marlowe. It treats the romantic story of love between Hero, a priestess, who lived on the northern shore of the Hellespont, and Leander, her lover, who lived on the southern shore. Question 44. What is Venus and Adonis? Answer. Venus and Adonis is a poem which relates Venus' love for young Adonis. It is a tragic note at the end. It has a tragic note at the end. It is written by William Shakespeare. Question 45. What is the Rape of the Lucrece? It is a poem of William Shakespeare and deals with the rape of Lucrece by Tarquin, the Roman emperor, leading to the downfall of Roman Empire. It bears out significantly Shakespeare's poetic power. Question 46. What is the dominating influence in the English drama during the Renaissance? Answer. The influence of Italian dramatists like Plautus, Terence, and Seneca proved highly conducive to the growth of a national theatre in England. Question 47. Who are the predecessors of Shakespeare? Answer. The mighty predecessors of Shakespeare were Christopher Marlowe, Thomas Keats, Robert Greene, Thomas Lodge, Thomas Nash, George Peele, John Lilly, etc. Question 48. Who are the university wits? Answer. The university wits were a group of young, talented scholars of the university. All of them had university education and classical scholarship. The members of the group include Lilly, Peele, Keats, Greene, Lodge, Nash, and Marlowe. Question 49. Name two plays of Christopher Marlowe. Answer. The two famous plays of Christopher Marlowe are the Tragical History of Dr. Faustus and Tamburlaine the Great. Question 50. Why is Thomas Kyd famous for? Answer. Thomas Kyd, one of the predecessors of Shakespeare, is famous for his play, The Spanish Tragedy. He is the first effective follower of the model of the Senecan revenge tragedy. Question 51. Who is John Lilly? Answer. John Lilly was a university wit who is famous for his prose romance, Euphues, The Anatomy of Wit. He is also author of several popular comedies. To be continued. Thank you.